Hi. So it's Saturday the 28th of January at about 11:20 p.m. And I'm just going to do this video today for my YouTube channel. I've just done some notes. Okay. Can you see it says YouTube discussion? So I'm actually trying to be organised this time. I got a bit overwhelmed because it's like I was looking at all these different areas that I wanted to discuss. And then I was trying to find in the Bible the areas that would back up what I want to discuss. I mean, the Bible is just a phenomenal book, okay? I've only just started reading it and getting to know it. And it's fascinating because you start to read it and then it takes you somewhere else, and it takes you somewhere else, and it takes you somewhere else. And then it's like when I was studying at university. I had an essay and I had a topic that I was supposed to, I was supposed to write a 3,000 word essay on on this topic, and then I'd start researching what to do for the essay, and then I started going down this incredible labyrinth, and I would borrow all these books from the library, like up to 20 or 30 books from the library. I only had to do 8 references, and I started looking at all these articles online, and I was taking all these notes, and I ended up with like massive amounts of notes that was completely off topic. And I was going, oh, this is fascinating. You could just go to this labyrinth of knowledge, research and searching. I just found it apps. I love studying and I love learning. So anyways, that's sort of what the Bible's like for me. I'm about to start commencing Bible study with my friend Desi, and Ridgely Church and some other people are going to join us, and I'm really looking forward to this. So guidance with house, and also with my Bible study, what actually happens is my friend Desi gives me verses to read, or we have a discussion about something. Like last night we were discussing something in detail, and she gave me about 8 different verses to check out because she knows the Bible off by heart. So I found, so with today I had some heads up knowledge from my friend Desi, what to research. And heads up knowledge also from this, this awesome book that I bought, that I love, Prayers of Blessings Over Your Husband. It's got 50 chapters over different areas of how to pray for your husband. And that's got heaps of verses and chapters to read as well. Anyways, and then I've also got notes from when I was at church on Sunday. And I've also got some verses from Uplifting Mind, which is this YouTube YouTube channel I've subscribed to. And you know what? I think I'll start there because that's actually what set me off today. Because what actually happened today was I got to sleep at about 4:30 in the morning. I was up late plastering and doing work on the house because I had a big vertigo attack that lasted for 5 or so hours, and I was absolutely determined to get a job done. I've got this determination. I need to get a minimum one job a day done. Unless I'm completely debilitated, I need to get at least one job a day done. I prefer to get 3, about 3, sometimes 6. But don't breathe on me, please. He just ate a bone. I just gave him a meat bone. Don't worry, I'm not being mean. It's just that literally I just gave him the most bone full of meat. Yeah. I don't want to smell that smell. So, sorry, that made me a bit sick. I'm predominantly vegetarian, so I find meat really hard. So Zena, I wasn't sure she'd be able to make it up the steps because she's really quite little still, and those steps are quite steep. Got to put some new steps in there, but she managed it. Obviously their bone didn't last very long. See, look, cute little Xena again. Look, Xena. There she is, the little darling. So anyways, and there's Alvin sitting on the D bed, being all handsome. So basically, got to sleep at 4:30 in the morning because I stayed up late doing the plastering, but also having a very long conversation with my friend Desi. And because I'd rung her earlier in the day, and then she sent me some text messages at 3:30 in the morning. I was like, oh, she's obviously awake. So I just rang her because I had some stuff that I was really urgently wanted to sort of unravel with her. So we ended up talking for about an hour. And I went to sleep all right, and then I woke up at 5:30, like 1 hour later. Like, really, my eyes are so tired right now. But I woke up because, and I tried to go back to sleep and try to rest. So I was in bed till about maybe 6:30, but I was tossing and turning. I just couldn't fall back to sleep. So I thought, just get up. Just get up. So, yeah, might as well just... And then I was like, how am I going to make this day work? What am I going to do? Because the thing that actually woke me up... what actually woke me up was ruminating over all these different scenarios that are happening, and all these different, persecutions and scapegoatings and injustices and everything that are happening, and I keep praying for it to be released. I pray for God to take it away from me. So I thought, right, I'll start this day by doing my Bible study before I get onto the housework. So I was going to maybe take the dogs for a walk, but I thought, you know what? I think I prefer the afternoon walks with them rather than first thing in the morning. I think I love that afternoon orange sunset time. And whenever I go to the river in the morning, there's more people with dogs there. That's what I've noticed as well. So if I go in the afternoon, it's really just us. And then I can just let them run. I don't have to worry about dog politics. Like, for example, when I went to the river the other day, there was a man there with 3 dogs. He's got 2 dogs that Alvin has already met. They're German Shepherds. And he's just gotten himself a new pup because the eldest one's really old. So she's going to die soon. Soon enough. And so it was the first time of Xena and his pup. Like, that was his pup's first time meeting other dogs. But his middle dog, was just 10 months old, has the first dog he met was Alvin a while ago, and he's got sort of anxiety. But I don't know if it was the dynamic of Xena being there or his girlfriend, his partner was there as well. But the 10-month-old German Shepherd got a bit protective of his partner and was being a bit mean to Alvin, but he also scared Xena a little bit. And but the little pup was good for her, and I had contact. And I did calm down the 10-month-old German Shepherd a little bit because I know him now. He has anxiety, and the owner says, well, this dog has got such anxiety. So I'm happy to socialise him. But then I said to my dogs, let's go, let's keep going. And so we went up the river. And that was an okay interaction. But it was just a little bit hard for me, because I had a coffee cup. I had a bag with water in it. Xena's actually quite heavy. She's quite a buffy. She's a hefty dog. And so, yeah, I'd just rather go in the afternoon. You know what I mean? It's just simpler. Long-winded. Yeah, I've just decided the afternoons work better for us. And so then I was like, excuse me, I was like, I don't really want to just start working straight away. I'm going to do a live, and I'm going to do some Bible study. I'm going to do some Bible study. I want to get these feelings out of my body. So I've actually just spent 9 minutes discussing my study. Great. Wonderful. But literally, I got out here at, 7:30, and it's now 11, so that's like 3, excuse me, that's 3 hours of study. 3 hours of study to get these notes for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow this video to roll over to the next half an hour, and hopefully my battery will last, because it's on 28%, but if it doesn't, I'll just charge it up, have a break, and come back. So where I will start is, and yes, this is all around my husband. Yes, it is. Oh, please forgive me. This is a big deal, man. Like, you know, this man, I love this man with my heart and soul, and this man is just, boop, discard me. Like, I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, and nothing. It's a very painful reality, okay? Like, he treats me like I'm nothing because he's able to run so fast, but in fact I know he's missing me every second pretty much of the time that he's away, but he's determined to make sure, you know, he's determined to make sure that he gets the approval of his sister and his brother and his ex-wife and all these people that think that I am a gold digger and I am a narcissist. So he's got to maintain those relationships with those people. And to do that, he has to make sure I'm the enemy. And it goes on and on and on and on, okay? It goes on and on and on and on and on. The truth of the matter really is that with me, he lives life. And he starts to dream big, and he starts to be godly and step up into all that he can be. That is the truth of the matter. That's the truth of the matter. And that scares him, because he's never done that before. Everyone keeps him small, you know, and repressed. And, you know, and he keeps running to that, because that's his little safety zone. That's what he knows, you know. That's all he has known his whole life, is to be small and repressed and not do anything and have people condemn him, put him down, you know, tell him he's not capable. And that's safer for him, you know. It's safer. So, you know, I have compassion and understanding for that. I find it boring. I can tell you right now, when I was his friend for years, I had to listen to what he was saying, and all I ever did in that time of friendship was encourage him to step up, to learn how to say no to people, including his brother, an old school friend of his that used to be on the phone for hours, and he'd be there going, ooh, and he'd even put the phone down, right? And she'd go blah, 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 and he'd even put the phone down, right? Leave it in the bedroom, and he'd go into the kitchen to make us a cup of tea. But I'm like, but dude, I'm here. You should be telling her, sorry, let's have this discussion another time. I have a friend here right now. And then he'd be going, you know, and then sometimes he'd put it down and we'd walk off, and he'd be talking to me a little bit and going, oh, I better go back to see what she's talking about now. But it was always about her health issues, and it went on and on and on. And he had all these friends that did that. And so many people used to either come to his house or ring him up and just non-stop talk. And including his brother, you know, they just come in, they talk at him. And he'd just be going, oh, and he'd always tell me how much he couldn't bear it, you know. And sometimes we'd have times of meeting up, and he'd be 2 hours late, and he'd go, oh, I just couldn't get so-and-so off the phone, or my brother came over and I couldn't get rid of him. And I'm going, but hang on, you had an agreement to meet up with me, you know, and I've been waiting for you. You know, come on, dude, you've got to learn to honour yourself. Like, if you want to have that conversation, great, do it. But if you don't want that conversation, put some firm boundaries in place. Heaps of other situations like that where I helped him learn his self-esteem. And that was when we were just friends, okay? So, yeah, it's been an ongoing dynamic with this man, helping him learn, you know, boundaries, self-esteem. Yeah, and I was like, learn how to say no by saying no to me. So I was teaching him how to say no to me. That's how he started to learn how to say no, right? But he doesn't say no to anyone, hardly anyone else. Not, as far as I'm aware, he doesn't say no to anyone except for me. Because he obviously feels really, like I'm the person he feels the safest with, to be the most authentic with. But in that, he also, unfortunately, she's eating a Christmas decoration that's fallen down. No, I gave you a bone for a reason. See, an old Christmas decoration. I haven't packed up all the Christmas decorations yet, and the wind's been blowing them around, and she keeps finding them. And yes. Anyways, the point of the story is, guys, it's a big issue for me, this thing around my husband, because when I committed to marry him, I committed to marrying him with my heart and my soul. I believed every word that came out of his mouth. I believed every dream we discussed to the nth degree. I surrendered completely to this life that we were going to be creating. And so the betrayal that I feel from him just running away from it so easily, the lack of commitment that he actually has to our marriage. And I would say he never had the commitment to our marriage, because I have come to realise that I don't think he has ever committed to anything ever in his whole life. So let's start with so I do a lot of learning around because it's not just my husband that I have a dynamic like this with. I've had a lot of friendships in my life as well, where people run too easily or they're not committed enough. So I have actually attracted people constantly. Oh, this is my pattern. I constantly attract people into my life that I don't believe treat me with the respect that I deserve. I don't believe they have enough integrity with their word. They say something, but then they don't honor it. They don't back it up. Their commitment doesn't really seem to be there, and they seem to think they can actually throw all this crap on me, and I've just got to handle whatever they throw on me. But if I'm even a little bit weak and I'm a little bit needy, or I have a little bit of, I require some stepped up support, it's like that I can't rely on them. It's like they're not there. It's like, so all these people sort of need me to be strong, need me to be the one that keeps giving, right? But not there to give back. I have only met a few friends in my life that have equally given the balance back that I give out. And one of those friends is Desiree. She's been a long-term friend of mine. And that woman is like, she is my rock. She is my rock. Like, without her, and my relationship with God is deepening also because of her. And, I have another friend that I've, expressed to you guys a few times, and he's Brad. And he and I have had our, look, both Desiree and Brad, I've had fallings out with both of those people, and we've resolved it. So we've worked out the issues, but we haven't given up on each other. I really need a haircut, by the way. Just want to cut that off like you wouldn't believe. But, that's what happens when you're committed to a friendship and committed to a relationship. You work it out. You don't run away. You resolve the issues. You get deeper, closer. Commitment. It's called commitment. So basically, there's this really awesome Christian site called Uplifting Minds, and I really love it. And the one today was like, how do you know who to marry? Like the characteristics of those God wants you to marry. And I was taking notes just to see if my husband fit any of these characteristics, even though we are actually already married. And there's like commitment, love unconditionally. There was one more that I didn't write down. But basically, just some of the notes I took down from this one. So there's something I want to start with, okay? There's this quote by a lady called Stephanie Bennett Henry, which I found on Facebook a while ago, and I've posted onto my YouTube channel, and I've posted onto my Facebook channel. And this is why I know what I'm going through is going to take a while, and I might have to talk about this experience I'm going through for quite a while, because I have gone through a major breakdown with being so betrayed by my husband again. I have gone through and betraying myself. Like, I have been betraying myself. So I've had to really get to a point of working out how to deeply and truly forgive myself and how to forgive others. And this journey I learned from the pastor at church, from all these other Christian friends of mine, and from other friends, it actually takes a while. Like, forgiveness is not an easy process, because ultimately humans are not, the battery's going to go flat. Ultimately humans are not humble. It's through the grace of God that we are humble. So this quote, which I think is it's just really made me realise this is going to take a while, Nadina, and you're doing great. Like, just accept the slumps, the ups and downs and blah, blah, blah. And she says, I know you thought the breaking was the most painful chapter. It wasn't. Turn the page. The next part is much longer. It's the healing, the rise, the comeback. It's the birth of the new you. And it's not easy, but you are strong and brave and worth it. And that's where I am at the moment. I'm rebirthing myself, recreating who I am. And all of these lessons I've had to go through, of all these different interactions I've actually been part of co-creating, they've actually resulted in breaking me, have just broken me to the point where I've been able to fully surrender to God, do this amazing journey that I'm on, and rebirth myself to the true me that I was always meant to be. And I can feel the difference. I have held so many people to account lately. I'm not worried if I lose them. I used to be such a people pleaser that I'd silence myself all the time. I would not tell people when I felt hurt or upset, or like they disregarded me or disrespected me. And this would all be inside me, causing all this damage, my neck, my tension in my neck, this discombobulation in my head, this tight throat, tight chest. Now I say it. And I've had people step up. Because I'm stepping up for me. They're stepping up to stay in my life. It's wonderful. This video I've only got another 8 minutes of, and the phone's on 5%, 15%. So this first video will just be the rant of the prelude to when I actually get onto the Bible study, because I'm going to have to let the phone charge, and then I'll come back and do the actual go into all the Bible study that I've been doing. But let's just finish off with this last 8 minutes of with the Uplifting Minds article that I was listening to today, and some of the notes I took. So, these are just some of the notes. It was a 15-minute article. So, the man was saying it takes grace of God to fill the hole of when a relationship ends, when we're deeply in love with someone and the relationship ends. Like, it takes the grace of God to fill that hole. That hole is so deep that it's only through the grace of God that we can heal it. And, really, when someone leaves, it's really because they've got a non-committal attitude to life, and they've opted out. They've opted out of giving all to their relationship. So a lot of people who leave relationships and run, they're not committed to life. They're not committed to anything, anyone or anything. And they're not prepared to dedicate the time that it needs. They're not prepared to step up and to work through and withstand challenges. So they're always looking for greener pastures. So basically, he says most people can't stand the challenges, and they go in search of greener pastures. So most people, if there's a challenge in a marriage or a job, or their schooling, or their friendship, or their parental-child relationship, or a project that they've committed to, if a lot of people, if it gets too hard, they give up. They actually give up. And a lot of people, you can tell a true test of someone is how they respond to challenges and adversity. So some run to take the easy way out, and others work on resolving it. Now, I can tell you, on the 7th of December, when I thought my husband was sleeping in the guest room, I was in our room, and I was actually researching marital counselling. And I actually signed up for this amazing course. It was $300. And so that night I paid $137. I did 3-part payment plans. And I've now got the second part payment plan done. And it's the third week. it's an ongoing workshop, and it says love at first bite. So it's all about Bruce Muzik, he is, and basically not Bruce. Was it Bruce Muzik? Anyways, I'll see if I can link his site to my YouTube. But you pay to join his forum, and he does all these teachings. And that's what I was doing on the night that my husband and I had a breakdown, and I thought he was asleep in the guest room. But unbeknownst to me, he'd already gone. He'd already driven down to his brother's house, okay? And the following morning when I woke up, the camper van wasn't here, and I just assumed that he had gone travelling in it like he told me he was going. He said, I'm never going to run back to my brother. I'll next time, if anything goes bad between us, I'll go in the camp van and take some time out and do some reflecting. So I actually went to work that day assuming that my husband was out and about travelling in the camper van, doing some reflecting on the conversation, on the escalation of a miscommunication and a breakdown that happened the day before, okay? That resulted in some really not okay behaviours from both of us. So that's what I thought he was doing. But whilst I was at work that day, he came back to our house with his brother, right? And on that day, he got, one of them drove the Mazda back. So maybe they came up in his brother's car, I don't know. And then my husband packed up most of his stuff, his clothes, his computer, his, the printer and all of his musical equipment, and packed it up and took most of his stuff, but he left stuff behind that didn't make sense, like stuff that was really important to him. And that's when I came home, and all of his area was empty. There was some stuff there that I know means something to him. It was just sitting there on this empty table, like his little scissor man, which I showed it to you, peoples. He loves that little scissor hands, like magnifying glass with these hands that clips on. He puts his glasses there and fixes them up. He loves that guy. And that little guy was just sitting there alone on the desk. And I found that odd. And that was to me like, oh, he's coming back. It was almost like he deliberately left it there to tell me I'll be back. So that's what he did the day after. Run. But the night before, I paid for a marital counselling course that was just going to transform our lives. Just because I'm focused on resolving things, you see. And I knew what was happening was resolvable. And I knew that we're having a breakdown because of family of origin, dysfunctional trauma bond and attachment, maladaptive trauma, maladaptive attachment bonds with his, family. They've never had a proper, normal, healthy, loving upbringing. So there's some dysfunction there that really needs to be healed, right? And that dysfunction is carried over into my marriage with my husband, right? And I knew that this was the time now for us to finally deal with it. But we haven't had a chance to deal with it because my husband ran. He's been out of contact up until this text I received 3 days ago. And that text wasn't about, oh, let's communicate. Let's actually resolve stuff. It's about, I'm shutting this down. I've done this. I've closed this down. Blah, 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 blah. And then he ends it with, take care of yourself and our furry children. So, he's acknowledging that the animals are his and mine as well. Well, okay. Thanks for that. Acknowledging that they're also your children. What about helping me bring them up? What about actually helping me feed them and keep them alive? What about being in communication of if you perceive them as your children, your furry children, okay, step up and actually be part of their life somehow. E.g., talk to the person that is keeping them alive, So we've got 2 minutes, and he ran while I was resolving, lacking commitment, and usually this man, I can't remember, he didn't say what his name was, but the narrator of the Uplifting Minds, he says, people who fear commitment, they're living in a place of fear, they've got trust issues, and they're selfish. They're just selfish. They're completely and utterly self-centered and selfish. And it usually comes from an attitude of, not feeling like they can't stick anything out, like it's too hard, I'm running. I don't have the aptitude, I don't have the stickability to actually finish or complete anything. And he says, look at the attitude. And do they endure? Do they endure, or do they weaken and shut down and run? And then they talk more about when you meet the person that's really God really wants you to marry, this person will not abandon you. They will work on forgiving and letting go with God's grace, and they love unconditionally. They love without expectation. They stand by, and that both people step up to be a person of value. They work together to be a person of value. Yeah, so, and I do believe that my husband has a very fragile ego, and that a lot of what he does is because he has to continually protect his fragile ego. Like, he doesn't want anything to challenge that, so everything's got to be small and kept simple, or he's too challenged. He can't cope with this reality of actually stepping up into strengthening his going beyond ego and going into God's grace and just going to his ever-trusting, magnificent way of living. I actually bought this for my husband for Christmas, but obviously we didn't see each other for Christmas. I bought it from Korong, and so I started writing in at church the other day, and now I'm doing all my roads there. And basically, I'm really working on vindication. God, please help vindicate me. Help my heart to forgive me and others. That's the main thing I'm working with at the moment. Trying desperately to allow forgiveness for myself and for others via, like God's vengeance and vindication. Because there's so much going on at the moment. There's so much miscommunication. There's so much misunderstanding. There's so many lies happening. My husband is lying through his teeth. Not just to the police because of what I've read in the statement, but also, I would assume, to his family of origin and where he is right now with his ex-wife. I would assume he is lying like crazy, and these people probably believe every single word that comes out of his mouth because they want to believe that I'm the problem. They want to believe that I'm the one that's actually made my husband's life terrible. Not that my husband was dreaming and going big and living the life of his dream, and stepping up to be the biggest he could be, and then got scared and had to retract. No. For some reason, he was manipulated by me, and he became something that they don't know, or got created to be something that he's not. That's not true. He was stepping up. I'm like his muse, okay? He was stepping up and going big. So they didn't recognise that in him, okay? I'll let this shut out because we're hitting the... So I'm working on compassion and kindness and forgiveness. And then when the next video kicks in, I will go into the Bible study. But I'll let the phone charge up first. So anyways, see you soon. Love you.